You'll make this rather snappy, won't you? I have some very heavy thinking to do before 10 o'clock.
Good morning, everybody. This is Get It Right Texoma and the trio. And we actually are going to go. Actually, I'm going to switch over to the trio right there. There we go.
That's what today's show is about, Mike.
Yep, it is.
It's a tribute. This is the closest time to his final sign-off.
Yep.
I think his final sign-off was actually May 15th.
Yeah, the last show he was in.
The last show we did. Or, I'm sorry, May 16th, but this is our 17th. This is the closest.
Yeah.
There was one. There was one more show that the three of us were in, but it was. We don't know what happened to it.
I might have to get with Miranda and
if we could maybe post it at some time. But anyhow, so this is the closest one that we knew that was the last one that was posted. At the time, we weren't doing live stream,
right?
So it was one of those that had to be edited and posted and everything like that.
Yep.
And Mike got sick probably about a week or so after, like the. In fact, so we did our last show. We did one more show with all three of us. Mm-hmm. Then he got sick because he was going to be here on. And I think he texted me on that Friday morning and said, "Hey, I really feel bad. I can't do that." And then he was at the hospital there. And I think then the following Monday or Tuesday is when he ended up in down in UT Southwestern.
Yep.
And then passed away about a week later.
Yeah.
So anyhow. Mike was born the 29th. I mean, I need to look it up. October 29th. I know it was 1971 because he and I were born the same month.
Yeah.
It's not October 29th, 1971, and he officially died on June 6th, 2025. Yeah. So this is our this is a real emotional show prep for me because I've spent a bunch of time putting these clips together and pulling stuff out But it's emotional, but mostly fond. You know, it's sad because it's hard to believe that Mike's gone. I mean, you know, Mike was a part of my life for many, many years. Yeah. Mike and I went to school together. And we weren't best friends in school. We became very close friends as adults. But we knew each other. We were friendly with each other. We didn't go to parties at the same time, but we did talk, and I saw him and stuff like that. We ran in different circles. But as an adult, Mike and I were on the radio together for about 16 years.
Wow.
On one kind of show or another.
Right.
You know, so anyhow, this was, like I said, a very emotional, but it also was there was a lot of funny memories and all. And we hope you enjoy it. There's some that are funnier than others, and we'll kind of talk about them a little bit. Right. And then we also have some people that reached out who want to do a little bit of a tribute to Mike. Sure. And so we'll have some of those interspersed, and we'll just put them in. And
right. So I guess we just pick one and start.
We're gonna start with a start. We've got the very first sign on, the very first show that we did where Mike came in and introduced us, and so we're gonna go right here and this is Get It Right Texoma special tribute edition.
And let's. I say that part. But
sorry.
This is Get It Right now.
Of course, by the way, you run over my lines all the time.
I know. But,
I don't even know why we had the prompter.
Hey, just keeps us
this
a little
is Mike
bit
and Trey and blah, blah, blah.
All right. Well, let's see what we got here. So bear with us. I'm going to be dropping them in. And so,
I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll work out well. So let's see. Let's see what happens here. We got, I think it's this one right here. This will be the first one.
All right, guys. Well, welcome to our brand new podcast. It's kind of new. It's not totally new to us because we've all done this before with all of you. But welcome. We're back, and we are ready to launch a brand new, I don't know, would you call it a season of podcasting?
It's a new era.
Oh.
So that was it.
Oh, that was it. Okay. All right.
So just to back up a little bit, Mike and Terry and I were on the radio together.
Yeah.
And Terry had the idea of let's do some live streaming, and we did that. And then Mike and I actually started the Get It Right Texoma podcast, verbal only.
Right.
And those are they're out there somewhere.
Yeah, they're on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah,
I had migrated them all over. Right. Okay. All the audio is there.
They're just audios only, and it's just Mike and I. We would actually do it in my office. Mm-hmm. He would come over to my store after we were closed, and we get the roadcaster out and a couple of microphones and sit there and just yak about stuff.
Yeah,
so.
they left me out, but that's all right. But I eventually got in. You know,
Yeah, and
I
then,
got in the click.
You had the idea to do the video and stuff like that. So
Sure.
let's just start pulling some videos and
Okay.
and we'll just kind of take a stroll down memory lane
This
here a
may,
little bit.
This may start again, so I've got
Stop that one.
Stop that one, and I'll X that out. And now, what do you want to
Just grab another
Do you just
video.
want to start with up here at the top?
We could
No,
do.
or do you want to?
No, let's go. Let's go ahead. Let's see what it is. I don't even know
Okay,
what
this
it
is
is.
Bob Payton.
But okay, Bob Payton brought us
Okay.
in a thing in about Mike.
Right. So this is a little tribute.
Tribute.
So we're gonna add overlay. Okay.
Hi guys, thank you for putting together this video tribute to Mike Hendren. I got to work with Mike at the very outset of his broadcast career. For a very short time that we worked together because I left, but he really studied broadcasting, really became a very good student of some longtime broadcasters, Joe Tom White and others here in our community. And then when given the opportunity, took a talk show on to new heights and really put his own stamp on it. And it really became something that local issues and local politicians all felt they needed to stop by and visit with Mike to let the community know what was going on. And that says something when you have that demand from the community to be on your program, and he always did. He's a good man, gone way too soon, and cherish the memories of the broadcast career and the life of Mike Hendren.
Right.
Yeah, Bob's right. You know that's really when Mike's he was a co-host and board op and producer of the Joe Tom White Rise and Shine show with Joe Tom White and Mike Campbell, and he originally I think started off kind of as a board op, and Mike Campbell sent a message in here as well. Kind of started off as a board op and then turned into producer and was really became part of the show. And then when Joe Tom White left, Mike took that on, and what Bob just said is right. Everybody in the community needed to go. They felt compelled. Hey, I'm going to get my word out. I need to go see Mike, and they would be up there at the radio station at usually about 7:00 in the morning. Early in the morning, people would get up early. They go to the radio station just to be sure to get on the air with Mike.
Yeah.
And he basically had the who's who of Wichita Falls nonprofits, kind of like we do here, same type thing. So anyhow, that was a great tribute by Bob, and he's so right about that. So let's just go to the next one.
Okay. Well, we got a video of Border Patrol agent.
Yeah, just click on
drag it in. All right. Well, let me. So we
Can we not just click on them?
No, I gotta drag them in. Yeah, I know. Okay.
I was gonna say if you just leave us small, I guess.
Oh, okay. If we can do that,
Yeah.
then that'll work even better.
Yeah, people trained to be a Border Patrol agent. I believe in the mission, and now I'm being told to stand down and not do my mission. It's got to be frustrating.
Well, and there's something has got to change, and it's got to change soon. This to say it's out of control is an understatement, a gross understatement.
Not only is it out of control, Mike, it's unsustainable.
Okay.
So
that was that. All right.
yeah,
So
these are shorts.
So okay, but that was it's just but definitely he's an educated man.
Oh, yeah.
Right. He paid attention in news. He was a news junkie.
Absolutely,
He was a news junkie and probably is a news junkie now, just like laughing at all of us and all
Yeah.
what's going on.
But yeah, so let's just go to the next one. We'll just
Okay. All right.
keep rolling through. All these are going to feature Mike prominently.
Yep. Okay.
That's kind of the whole point.
All right. Yep.
No, that's good too. So we're going to do everything that we can to be able to make that happen.
Yeah, we talk a lot about the growth of the city or the lack thereof. It has been for the last several decades now.
Yes.
It's just been very flat population wise, and obviously, and we kind of had a discussion a couple of shows ago about this, about how for a lot of young people now, it's more about experiences. It's more about the quality of life. It's not so much about hey, is there a 6-figure job waiting for me when I get there? It's what does the city offer them? What does the community offer them as far as quality of life?
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's got to be a hot topic amongst city staff.
It is.
There you go.
All right. So
Just Mike talking about issues and knowing what's going on and a little bit of history and everything. It just was. So, let's see what's next.
It's a $100 million project. That's a drop in the bucket. I am so sick of hearing that. I'm tired of hearing that. I am tired of elected officials trivializing the debt that you're committing my children and my grandchildren to, that you've committed us to. I'm tired of you trivializing this. Enough. We're not asking you to take it seriously. We're ordering you to take it seriously. This is a direct order. Do it. Trump.
There you go.
all right.
That was Mike at one of his big soapboxes.
There you
getting
go.
up on his big soapbox there.
There you go. All right.
She says it's racially motivated.
Shocking. Fannie Willis played the race card. I cannot believe it.
She said the creation of this oversight panel is racially motivated.
But it must be true then, because Fannie Willis said it.
Okay, so it's a board that it was approved by the GOP-controlled state legislature earlier this year, signed into law by Governor Brian Kemp in March. They'll have the power to discipline and remove prosecutors from cases in Georgia found to have engaged in misconduct.
This is all based on what's going across the country. You've had these ultra-liberal DAs and left-wing DAs that have been put in. A lot of them have been backed by George Soros.
Yes.
That are going into communities and literally destroying these communities by not prosecuting crime. And Georgia said, we're not going to put up with this. We're going to form this committee. I should have cut that off a little sooner. It was really more about Mike. So that one I made a little long. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries.
Well, it was a short, I think, and I didn't cut it down, I don't believe.
Yeah,
So,
but it was really short. No.
Yeah.
All right. So what do we got out? Oh, and I want to say something too, real quick. That I got because I didn't get a chance. I should have said it earlier, but I got started on this journey of meeting Mike and everything when I started as an advertiser.
Yeah.
On the radio, and what it was is that we got so I worked with a salesperson who we got this idea, or he came up with the idea that we start a tech segment on the Rise and Shine show. And so one Friday morning, I show up. Now, what it was is I was doing an audio. I did a tech tip every morning, a different tech tip.
I remember those. Yeah.
And I was getting up or staying up late the night before doing all these tech tips and trying to get them all done and get it all edited and everything. And I'm up, till 1 or 2 in the morning. Of course, Mike's going to be getting in at 5 or whatever. And so I have to have this clip ready for him, and I knew nothing about audio production or anything. So anyway, but then on that first Friday morning, I'd come up and do it live on the air. And apparently, old Joe Time didn't like that. He didn't know that I was coming, and he's like, "Who are you?" But eventually, I think I won him over. Yeah. But anyway, Mike, though, he did that for not a few years actually, and then eventually, I thought, well, I'm going to try TV. And but anyway, Mike then had offered for me to come up to the station. Anyway, just continue on. Yeah. And then eventually. You were on Thursdays, I think, and I was on Fridays. Yeah. And then a few times you would either come in on Friday or I came in on Thursday or something, and we would do it at the show
And I think
together.
Actually it was your idea to combine us all.
Well, then we came up.
I think you're the one who had that
it's
idea.
Like, hey, let's just do this all together. And then I brought up the cameras, and I'd bring a couple of GoPros and had little ATEM.
Started that, yeah.
So anyway, so that's kind of
I started because I was on the school board.
Right.
So, I mean, Mike and I would run into each other here and there and everything, but I called him and I was like, man, I'm kind of at war with the Times and Record News.
Right.
And I need an outlet to set the record straight. And he said, come on up. So after every school board meeting, I would go to the Rise and Shine show and kind of have a little bit of a segment, similar type thing. And that's kind of how I started with it. And then Mike and I was like, hey, and of course we kind of rekindled we got closer again as as friends, and
Right.
and he's like, let's do a radio show together. So we did a Saturday morning thing and all that.
Right.
So it was a
Yeah.
it was a great ride.
All right. What's the next one here? That was the one, the government agencies. So now we got Henry.
No, we didn't do
Oh,
the
didn't
government
do that
agency.
one yet?
No,
Okay. Well, let's see.
You clicked on it and then
Oh,
started
okay.
talking.
And if you fired the right 50%, you would never know that anything happened other than things would become a little bit more efficient.
Well, that's even evident because even when Trump first took office, he was very short on cabinet members and all their deputies and stuff for a while because Congress was slow putting people through, and things still got done.
Yeah.
So proof positive right there.
Well, one of the things that has long frustrated me is we have all these 3- and 4-letter agencies that make these rules and these regulations that become de facto laws that we all have to follow, or else someone's going to come smack us on the back of the head with a big fine or worse. When in fact we elect you and everyone else in Congress to make laws and pass legislation that the president then signs into law.
Yeah.
But we have all these agencies that have been created that literally are sucking up trillions of dollars in themselves.
Right.
I mean,
and they've gotten away with it too. And the thing is they have this. We have executive orders right from the president, but they also have these agencies you're talking about, whether it's the EPA or the SEC or Fish and Wildlife, whoever it is. These agencies, they have rulemaking authority, right? And the rules carry the same weight as statute, as if they were law. They're not law. Congress didn't pass that. Right. Congress didn't know. The president didn't sign that. They're not law, but they carry that same weight. And then what they've also done is they've got to the point now where they interpret certain laws that Congress passes. And there's been numerous instances where Congress, even Republicans and Democrats, have said that's not the intent of Congress when what you're doing, right? But they have this wild interpretation of some law that sometimes doesn't even resemble the law itself, and they push forward with that and they get away with it, right?
So there's Congressman Ronnie Jackson, who has been on this program a couple of times. Yep. He's been on once since Mike's been gone, but with Mike. But he was on the radio show. I remember him coming on the radio show before he was when he was running for Congress.
Right. And then we had, of course, Thornbury before that and everything. But I think Thornbury was more of a buddy with
Joe Tom.
Joe Tom.
Yeah, he was.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. We got
Henry Florsham was the former CEO of the chamber.
Yeah.
When Mike and I first met, I had just moved to Wichita Falls. I'm this out-of-towner with all these ideas. I want to change things. And Mike's this native, hardcore rancher type. And we absolutely had some differences of opinions when it came to politics and government. But, Mike, he came around and we had some really good discussions about how to improve a city. And that's what our show talked about, was how do we make a better Wichita Falls? And I directly attribute a lot of the things that happened during my time there, those 9 years, to conversations like we had about schools and downtown and trails and those sorts of things that make people want to live in a city. I appreciate my time with Mike, and I miss him.
Yeah. So Henry and Mike had a show together on the radio.
Right. They did.
And they did it, and that's one reason I reached out to Henry and said, "Hey, you and Mike, work together on the show." And so it was really good, and it was Henry and Mike's politics were not aligned or anything like that, but they found common ground, and that was one thing that I really always appreciated about Mike, is somebody could not have the same political background or views, but you could find common ground in coming in and decide, hey, how can we talk about things that matter and not worry about our differences.
Right.
So
okay. So then after that. I don't know what do we got here.
Yeah, it was.
And let's not forget that the Nazi Party, the Nationalist Socialist Party,
right?
That's what they were, and that's what so many of these evil leaders through history have in common, is very socialist.
Yeah.
In their policies, in their leadership, in their rule, very socialist. Some of that even predates Marxism. It just does, and so but socialism, communism is a cancer. I don't give a damn what anybody says. Communism is an outright cancer on this planet. And if you don't believe me, do some research on it.
Well, talk to somebody who grew up in it or lived in it.
Over 250 million people have been murdered by communism in this world in the last 90 years, 100 years. And those are just the ones we know about.
Oh, I think had Hitler and Stalin not been contemporaries, Stalin would go down in history as the greatest mass murderer of all time. He really is with historians because he literally was. The difference was Stalin killed everybody. Hitler concentrated on a specific group of people, and that was why it. I think Hitler, when you hear the epitome of evil, you hear Hitler's name, which he was right there. Stalin's right up there with him. Yeah. Actually, I think Stalin was higher. Stalin killed more people. Hitler was targeted. Yeah. And that's the reason why. But anyhow, right. Where's the funniest one? The AI one.
Oh, you want to do that one?
Okay,
you want to go? Let's see where we. Let's see. Where did I? Hold on here.
I just keep going, I guess. I thought you'd.
Well, I had it in there. Oh well, we'll find it. I renamed it something. The birth of AI. Here it is. Okay.
Yeah, this I think is the funniest clip of all of these clips, and we may talk a little bit about around this because go ahead.
All right, you're good.
That's it. I guess with AI, you can almost date yourself these days, can't you?
Really?
You can literally date yourself.
Date yourself. Wow, that's kind of weird.
Yeah, you can actually have your voice sort of reproduced,
that's
and then you can have the AI have a conversation with the AI, and it would be. In theory, you could do as much of a brain dump as you possibly could, and that is a theory that some people are doing, is trying to capture consciousness. If we had, and think about it, if we had a recorder on us, this is good and scary at the same time. But if you had a recorder on you day to day,
now look at my face.
You had a personal AI assistant.
Now look at Mike's face in a minute here.
Probably recall
same expression.
Better than you can recall
Where the hell's
yourself.
this guy going?
And then once you pass away, that knowledge base could still exist. And you could pass that on to your loved ones, which then in theory could have a conversation with you. So that's some deep stuff here.
That is very deep.
It is.
That we can talk about in the future.
That is. So you're achieving basically digital immortality.
To some extent, yeah. In theory, if you, from the day you began to, actually, even if you, your parents were to develop this AI, personal AI for you upon your birth, and for that matter, even before your birth, right?
Yeah.
And they could tell the history of when, all the way through from conception, all the, oh yeah.
Okay, I really don't.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Terry, you just, dude, you crossed the line for me.
I don't even want to think about. I don't even want to think about that.
What's the old joke is when your wife was giving birth, did you film the delivery? He said, no, but I got some great footage of the conception.
Imagine that would be recorded and they would know all about it.
Yeah, I don't think so.
They could put permissions on it so that it would expose, let's just say the magic word.
Why did mom and dad have a safe word?
That has been, I've watched this thing several times. That's been so fun to watch that. And just all three of us, the interaction, and it was, you're talking about something that's concept, and Mike and I both have that. You got to be kidding me, look, and then when you say conception, and we're both going, whoa, and it was just, I loved it.
So I want to, this was sort of predictive too, because I've got 3 devices here. Let me go, I'll go to this. This is relevant. So I have 3 devices that you can record with. There's what's called the Pocket AI. Mm-hmm. This is the Plod, and this is the Bee Pioneer.
Okay.
Now, these aren't video.
Right.
But this one in particular is designed to actually operate all the time if you want it to. But it listens, and then it at the end of the day, and maybe I can do a demo at this, but it basically records throughout the day if you want it to. I'm not recording now. But it records, and then it will pick out things and say, hey, you had a conversation about this. Do you mind? It picks up to-dos and things that you might want to document about you and stuff like that. So, yeah. But with the glasses and there's all those other stuff. What's the Truman Show? Right?
Yeah, the Truman Show.
That was, everything's recorded.
Yeah.
And so then in that same idea.
The movie, The Circle.
Okay.
Did you ever watch that?
No, I haven't seen that.
It had the Hermione Granger from Harry Potter in it. Tom Hanks was in it as well. It's a really good. It's almost like if Google turned into a mega thing, and this girl gets everything recorded. So
right. Anyway. Well, that's anyway. So that it's just interesting that we. Oh, hey, we have somebody who hadn't seen in a while.
Yeah.
So all right. Well then, let's see. Here.
That's it. That's it. I guess with AI, you can almost.
All right, we're gonna drag the next one. Let's see, which one was it? We did that one. Is this political figure past? Is that?
Let's go ahead. Yeah.
Let's see what it is. What? All right.
Yeah. And then he makes a bad example with the pint of ice cream.
I do not. They keep trying to spin his cognitive capacity,
trying
to normalize it. This is becoming. We're past embarrassing now.
Oh yeah, it's not funny.
It's not funny anymore. No, it's not funny.
Joe Biden.
We are way past embarrassing. Now we're steeping into tragic. We really are. We're just getting into tragic mode now with this guy, and I keep telling people, well, y'all, you better buckle in tight because.
Yeah.
All right.
That was it on that one.
All right, and we got. Let's see.
Next one there.
So it's never going to be. It will never be a drinking water source. And when I read this, I went, yeah, no kidding. We knew this already. We knew it's a shallow lake. We know it's dirty. We know it's silted in. We know all. You're not telling us. And the only thing that I went, the pH is 9.9. Okay, and I had to look that up.
Don't believe it.
What that means, but and what that means for
you
a
didn't
lake.
know what it was.
I did. So I just I had to look that up because I'm like, okay, well, what does 9.9 pH mean for a lake like that? But other than that, it's like nothing there was shocking. We've known. I've lived here 53 years. For as long as I can remember.
You've lived here 52 years.
52, well, almost. Well, I'm going on 50. I'll be 53 in a couple of months.
You've lived here 52 years. You're aging us both.
52. Okay, 52 years, and I think I need a crutch. But anyway, it's as long as I've lived here, that lake has been shallow.
Sure.
It's looked dirty. It's never been great for fishing. Not really.
Does it actually have fish in it now?
I don't know. I'm sure there's some. I don't really know. Well, people fish out there. Yeah,
there is, but I think
there's got to be some fish
because of the depth of the lake. I think the nominal depth is about 4.5 feet or so.
Oh, you can walk across it.
You can.
We're talking about Lake Wichita.
Lake Wichita.
Okay.
But what I like about this clip right here, all these clips, is you see the diversity of knowledge that Mike has.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's one reason why Mike and I connected so much. We both could be completely full of shit. I'm sorry, completely full of crap, and we completely, and we knew like a little bit of everything, and that was so fun. That's why I loved our conversations together, because he would bring something up, and then I'd throw something in on it, or I'd bring something, and you would, and that was great. And then Mike did allude to, when he said 53 years, and I corrected him because Mike and I are the same age.
Right.
I mean, literally the same age, and that we were only about less than 25 days apart.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we were born the same year. I was the senior. I was the elder. No, I was born October 6th, and he was born October 29th,
Okay.
So we were right there together. And
Okay.
so anyhow, but like I said, the knowledge is not just politics. It's not just pop culture. It's
Right.
the lake. And he talks about the history, the depth, the and all that sort of stuff. But anyhow, let's just move on.
Right.
I just like that clip because it just shows the diversity of thought from him.
What I don't understand, though, is why we don't have people in the media asking the questions, pushing the issue. They'll push everything else. They'll ask everything else. Let's just take, for example, the documents that were found, the classified documents, and some of them even marked top secret, that were found in the possession of Joe Biden at his home, laying in a box in a garage.
Well, he's too old and forgetful,
well,
so we're not
right
going to
here it
prosecute
is.
him.
He's a well-meaning elderly man with poor memory. That was what the special counsel,
exactly what,
the special prosecutor came up with, or special counsel came up with.
But you take that, the media has beat that to death. And the same thing with President Trump and documents that he had at Mar-a-Lago.
Oh my gosh,
they've beat that story to death. They'll grab onto something and run with it. Nobody, I have not heard one person in the mainstream media ask the question about how are these people getting who is financing their trip literally from the other side of the planet so that they can be in Mexico and walk into our country. Somebody is financing that. Who's doing it?
What about
and
Peter?
why?
By the way, you could tell how long we did this. Of course, we did it for almost a year and a half, because you see, part of the time we got short sleeves, part of the time we got long sleeves, and so it was all. I know we started early. I don't know exactly what. I think we started in either January or February, because when you looked at the opening show, we all have long sleeves on, so it was probably cold outside.
Right. Well, here's another. Mike's
Mike Campbell,
Mike Campbell here, long time. He was on the Rise
and
and Shine show with
like
Joe
I said,
Tom
Mike started. Well, he'll talk about Mike's start, and go ahead if you'll pause it real quick. Mike's start on here and how there's a little bit of a lag. How he started as a board op and what he did there, but then he became the producer and the co-host of the show, and really took it to moved on with it. Yeah, there's all kind of a pause here. Yeah, it'll kick in.
Here we go.
Hello, everybody. This is Mike Campbell. You know, when Joe Tom and I first started out at News Talk 1290, the automation out there was a mess. We were in a trailer house, actually, or an old building out in the country. And Joe Tom actually kept a list. We had 17 board ops that came in and worked as little as one day to a few months, but eventually everybody pretty much left us. Then Mike Hendren showed up, and Mike, he took a hold and took care of the business and got us back on track and was able to make the automation work, and it ran like a Singer sewing machine. So I have great memories of Mike and his ability to run the board and take care of the automation and just make that radio station sound like a Singer sewing machine. So we remember Mike, and certainly we miss him.
So. Yeah, talk about the early days, Mike's early time in the radio business there, and that was another thing. It wasn't just he was on here personality. He produced. He also helped. You know, he wasn't an engineer, but he would go up there. Sometimes he'd go realign the satellite up on the roof, and so there was a lot of things that he did and spent a lot of time to make that radio station sound good. That's the one thing about it that I remember. Mike was so proud of the way it sounded. So.
Oh yeah, he tweaked that the microphone and the processor and all that to make it. Yeah.
So let's skip a few of these and we'll go back to them, because I don't want to just do tribute after tribute. Let's
right. Okay, so we got
let's just do some more
the minimum
clips.
Wage. Here we go.
There we go.
That one.
How is it really impacting things to force business owners to pay $15 or $20 an hour when the federal minimum wage is still sitting there at $7.25 an hour? We don't even talk about federal minimum wage anymore. It's a moot point. No politician even brings it up anymore. It is no longer even a valid argument for them from a political standpoint. How is it really impacting?
I think some would say that it became irrelevant during COVID and this whole quiet quitting thing.
Talking.
Right.
So, you know. It was really more that was a clip with Ron Kitchens, who was another chamber president and CEO that was on with his son, but that was kind of more Mike talking about minimum wage there.
Right. Now this is our first guest on.
Oh yeah,
and
you'll see who it is, who our first guest was.
Everyone, welcome to Get It Right Texoma with the Texoma Trio, Mike, Terry, Trey, and our very special guest with us this week, and we're going to have guests off and on this podcast, but our very special guest this week is Wichita Falls Mayor Tim Short. Mayor, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Very special.
Very.
It's a very special. Am I the first?
You're the first guest.
You're the first official
I was
guest.
trying to set the expectation for everybody that comes after.
Yeah, I think Casper the Ghost has shown up once or twice at least.
Okay. So something on this behind the scenes, if you remember, we shot that twice.
Yes, we did. Yeah, because the first
because
time,
I screwed up.
Yeah, that's why we said official guest. You're right.
Yeah,
Tim Short was in the week before.
Right, and we had to
and we had no video, no sound, or something like that. So.
Yeah, I messed that one up, I guess.
Yeah, anyhow.
So I was the tech guy. So all right.
But Tim was a longtime friend of Mike, and actually there's a tribute show. Let's find Tim's tribute. It's a really good one.
Okay, Tim Short.
Right. Yeah. And a sponsor of the Get It Right Texoma, or not Get It Right. Sorry.
Good morning, everyone.
Yep. Morning wake up call.
You know, these tributes and these things are
are just never easy, especially, on the anniversary of Mike's last show. Mike Hendren was my friend for over 20 years. We had so many conversations during that time. Some of them were fairly loud, if you can imagine. Most of them resulted in laughter, the kind you can't catch your breath for a couple of minutes. And most of the time it was because we were laughing at each other. So when I was first deciding whether or not I was going to run for mayor, Mike was one of the first ones that I called to talk to about it. He asked me relevant questions. Are you on drugs? Are you drinking during the day? Blink twice if you're under duress and need help. I trusted his opinions, and he gave those opinions freely. The day after I announced my candidacy, Mike Hendren's show was the first place that I went. And we had a great time discussing issues and things that morning. So Mike was my friend, and I sure miss him. And as he would say, we'll see you on down the road.
That's a good tribute. It was, and it does also goes to show he wasn't, like I said, just a radio personality. He was a friend and a confidant. And, Tim Short here, he didn't call Mike just to go on the radio. He called Mike ahead of time. Hey, what do you think about this? Because he knew he had a wealth of knowledge and things like that. Sure. So,
all right. Well, then we got, let's see.
Click on another segment, and then we'll kind of move around a little bit.
Okay, so let me
to keep people from entering your property, to stop people from
you lock your front door, don't you?
You lock your front door to protect your home. Why do we not have the same attitude about our border?
Maybe we need to quit calling it a wall. Why don't we call it a door?
Yeah.
Let's lock our goddamn door.
Lock the front door, lock the back door.
Yeah.
But we've got to you got to have a physical barrier. That's number one. You got to have boots on the ground. You got to have people. You got to have people that can physically watch the border, that can physically interact with people coming into the country illegally and do something about it. And then the third thing you've got to employ is the best technology that's out there.
Assets in the air.
Assets in the air. We've got drones. We have military drones that can, 50, 60,000 feet in the air, and they can take a picture of a gnat, on the ground in detail,
They can take a picture of a gnat's ass.
So, come on.
All right. So, all right.
That was my job, was just to be the smart to come in with a little zinger of the one-liners.
That's
you
my
could
whole,
have
added the wrinkles in the gnat's ass.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
You didn't say that.
I know.
Yeah.
I didn't think. I'm not quick on the fly.
It's like improv,
guys.
though. I've done improv for years. And there's times that you do something and then you go, oh, shoot. You go, after you're done with something, oh, dang, I had a great one, Yeah. But there's also times that you think, in your mind, it sounds great, and you spit it out and you go, that sucked. Yeah. And you're standing there in front of everybody.
It thought better than it
sounded better.
Sounded.
Let's click on either Pam Pack. It's Pam Pack right there.
You know what? I didn't catch. I was thinking, he just misspelled Pam or Sam.
No, it's not Pam.
Sam. I know, but it's they're
you
together.
got Sam and Pam.
I don't know why I never made that connection, but yeah. All right.
The first time I met Mike Hendren, I was at a Chamber of Commerce event, and he knew I worked for Meals on Wheels at the time, and he said, hey, I would really love to promote that event that you're talking about. Why don't you come up and do an interview on my radio show? So I was always listening to him on the radio, which that really excited me, and I didn't know how to ask. I actually didn't know how people were invited to participate, and it was just, Mike having a good heart. So as we would do these interviews over the course of the years, and it morphed from Meals on Wheels to Leadership Wichita Falls or other activities that I served on the board to now Atmos Energy, he would always be very thoughtful. He did all he could to not make you feel silly. He could turn the conversation around and make you laugh and make you feel right at home, and it was very easy to become friends with Mike. on top of that, after the interview, he was so very thoughtful, and he would ask how he could help more, and ask about your life, and always remember the last conversation that you had, which always surprised me. I'm like, man, your brain. We were very like-minded, and I appreciated how bold he was and charismatic, but probably the most beautiful trait, or definitely the most beautiful trait that Mike had, was compassion. He truly cared. He cared about others. He cared about our community. He cared about his family and the things that he believed in, and that's why he is so deeply missed.
Yeah, that was really good. You know, and Pam kind of touched on something there. Mike had an ability to take people who would, people who weren't on the radio, and they would get in there and they'd be nervous, and they go in there, and he'd start that conversation before the mics got hot, and it was all just kind of easy to and the next thing you know, they're having a conversation with him, and they're not really even paying attention.
Right.
And he had that ability. I'll tell you another thing he had ability to as well. That guy could walk in there. Remember, there were times it was like we're walking in the door, unlocking the door, and the damn music's playing, the intro music's playing.
And he's click,
click, and boom. Hey, welcome together.
Yeah, he just
holy crap. It was, but that was always very impressive. But I really liked this video, and it was very touching to me when I actually teared up when she first sent it over. And it was that, because he had that ability. And I want to tell you, there were people who wanted to send videos, but they felt like they almost couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Well, we had some people that reached out, and they just said, I don't know that I can do it. So I appreciate everybody that did. There were a lot of people who remembered Mike, and when I reached out to people and say, hey, can you send a tribute video over there? It's kind of told them what we were doing. And they just said, I can't. I don't know what to say.
No, yeah, that's probably.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. I don't know if I can make it through it, type thing. And Pam did a great job here. So,
sure.
Anyhow.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to another clip here.
All right, so we got, we already did that one. We did that one. Okay, right here, I think. I don't think we've done this one.
One of the things that has long frustrated me is we have all these 3- and 4-letter agencies that make these.
Sorry about that.
Well, then U.S. debt. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
And then we got a couple more, or one more tribute, I think.
Michael Mitchell. Yeah.
That is essentially what America does. We've got this big credit card, and we just keep raising the limit on it and allowing ourselves to go further and further into debt. I think we have now passed $34 trillion. If I'm not mistaken.
Nearly 40.
And that is the on the books today debt. That doesn't take into account future obligations, unfunded mandates, things like upcoming and future pensions for military and government employees that are retiring. Social Security,
Medicare, Medicaid.
Oh my God, Social Security and Medicare accounts for a hell of a huge number. Yeah, we're
at 34 according to the debt clock, the USDebtClock.org. 34 trillion, 227 billion.
Right. This is the number right here that's the most interesting.
Yeah, 212 trillion dollars is U.S. unfunded liabilities.
Yes.
Wow.
So we are trillions of dollars in debt, and we don't even. It's not even a topic of discussion anymore. Nobody.
Right about that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Still right. Unfortunately, we're still right about
that.
All right. So then we have. All right. So what
I
else?
think Mike Mitchell is our kind of our last tribute there.
Yeah. I think
so. Feel excited about that.
He's the bearded guy.
Yeah.
Hey guys, it's Mike Mitchell. I was asked to do a quick video about what Mike Hendren meant to me, and I've been kind of reflecting on that for a while. Mike Hendren and I didn't know each other super well, but we were friends, I guess, kind of like he was with everybody. He and I floated around in a lot of the same circles, but and crossed paths often, but we did not get to hang out near as much as we wanted to. But I do know his reputation preceded him. He was an amazing guy, a friend to everybody he knew, and I'm sad that he's gone, and I wished I'd known him better.
So, And that's a perfect, I like that because going in and it's like, hey, we weren't best buddies, but I knew Mike and didn't have to know him real well to be friends with him.
Right.
And know that he had a great reputation. Right. So.
And by the way, Leanne Burnett has chimed in, and she actually exactly what you said, that's the reason she wasn't able to do one. She just couldn't make it through the video if she did it. So she chimed in here.
Okay. Yeah. That's great.
And so yep.
But there were people. So here's what I'd like to do if you're okay. Let's X out of there. Let's run the AI one more time. Okay. I think it's the best. I think it's the absolute best video that we've ever done. I think it was the best clip ever of the three of us, and it's my favorite.
Earth of
it's my favorite one just because all three of us are.
We'll do it again here.
Kind of ranting on it. And
That's it. I guess with AI, you can almost date yourself these days, can't you?
Really?
You can literally date yourself.
Date yourself. Wow, that's kind of weird.
Yeah, you can actually have your voice sort of reproduced,
that's
and then you can have the AI have a conversation with the AI, and it would be. In theory, you could do as much of a brain dump as you possibly could, and that is a theory that some people are doing, is trying to capture consciousness. If we had, and think about it, if we had a recorder on us, this is good and scary at the same time. But if you had a recorder on you day to day, and you had a personal AI assistant, you could facial expressions.
Recall. That's what I'm saying. Mike and I had the exact same facial expression.
Recall it yourself. And then, WTF? Pass away, that knowledge base could still exist. And you could pass that on to your loved ones, which then, in theory, could have a conversation with you. So that's.
So as you watch it, that's what you say. I told you, Mike and I did think a lot alike, and you're clicking over with the same facial expressions, and then when you drop the big bomb, both of us have the same facial expression again. So go ahead.
Deep stuff here.
That is very deep.
It is.
That we can talk about in the future.
That is. So you're achieving basically digital immortality.
To some extent, yeah. In theory, if you, from the day you began to, actually, even if you, your parents were to develop this AI, personal AI for you upon your birth, and for that matter, even before your birth, right?
Yeah.
And they could tell the history of when, all the way through from conception, oh yeah.
Okay, I really don't.
I was gonna say, Harry, you just, dude, you crossed the line for me.
I don't even want to think about. I don't even want to think about that.
What's the old joke is when your wife was giving birth, did you film the delivery? He said, no, but I got some great footage of the conception.
Imagine that would be recorded, and you would know all about it.
Yeah, I don't think so.
They could put permissions on it, so that it would expose. Once you say the magic word.
Why did Mom and Dad have a safe word?
I think. I think that's a good place. That's a good place. I think we ought to do let's just wrap it up ourselves, and then we'll do our final sign off, and let Mike do the final sign off here.
Yeah. Well,
the last sign off doesn't have you in it. It was what it was. I think we had one more show after that all three of us were in. I mentioned this before. But it was kind of lost to history because it never was edited, never was aired.
Yeah, well,
never was put in.
Right,
so.
and I want to say some things here too. Is that Mike, because although I didn't, I didn't have the same relationship growing up. You didn't start in elementary school, right? Did y'all meet in high school?
Junior high.
Yeah, but still, you had that. But I feel like that just I've grown with him in a way, professionally, but yet also. As a friend, because I didn't go there, and that's the other thing. It wasn't about making a buck for him.
No,
it was the moment that we just had a connection that we got along. Again, as you got me tearing up now. Don't do this. But anyway, so the fact that we were able to take what started out literally as a professional thing, and then he said, "Hey, come on up." And I don't know, I found that really cool. And then the technical stuff, I got to learn so much from him about radio and audio and all that. And this is what I would do if I wasn't an IT guy.
Yeah.
And he helped me not really a dream necessarily, but certainly fulfill an interest that I had. So I want to thank Mike for that. Absolutely, he really helped me a lot with that, and gave me a real reason to apply some of the skills and stuff, and all that. So, all right, well, we'll sign off.
I'm going to tell you, I never had a time that I didn't enjoy going on the radio or coming on this podcast.
Absolutely,
I mean, it was something I look forward to. When it was Mike and on Thursdays, I look forward to that, or Saturdays. Like I said, Mike and I did several iterations of shows throughout the years. We were on the radio, I believe, about 16 years together on something. And then probably a couple of years before that, when I would jump in on the Rise and Shine show and just to talk about the school board and basically trash the Times Record News. You know?
Yeah.
But it honestly was one of my favorite things that I did every week.
Right.
It gave Mike and I time to be together. Especially on the radio, here we're kind of always talking, but off air, and our conversations off air, on air, a lot of times it was politics or social issues and stuff like that, but off air it was our families and that sort of stuff. And those times were very special. So we're gonna sign off here. We're gonna. Next week, we'll go back with our regular schedule. I think Jeff Jennings, the city manager, is going to be in with us next week.
Okay.
And we'll kind of get started on that. This was I thought I'd be better. I thought I'd be over this by now because I ran all these clips and I've looked at all these clips and everything else, but it is what it is. So
okay. Well, you ready to sign it off? All right. We're gonna.
So for the last time, we're gonna let Mike sign off for us here.
Take care. Thank you for joining us. Be sure again to visit GetItRightTexoma.com and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. Y'all take care of yourselves. Until next time, we'll see you down the road.